Hello and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man, and it's beginning to look a lot like Zackmas every night and day. It is Zack Snyder Day, and I'm gonna come at you. I'm gonna be watching with you a little bit of Zack Snyder's watch party for Batman v Superman. I was going to do Man of Steel first. He did a watch party for that, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it for BVS first because I actually enjoy that movie. So yeah, I'm going to do a kind of watch along with Zack Snyder watching his own movie and gushing over how awesome it is to him. So let's see. I think it starts here. And let's get into it, I think. Here we go. So, hopefully Zack Snyder is going to delight, mystify, and infuriate me enough for this to be a very, very interesting first 30 minutes. And also give me some time to, exercise my own soul, of many of the demons that have existed within it ever since that fateful day I took a hot girl, to Man of Steel on a date in 2013. And she wasn't into me. And it was because I like this movie or took her to this movie. It really put her off. First date I've ever taken a woman to a movie where I didn't get laid. So that's how bad Zack Snyder's movie was. And I was just like, maybe that's clouded my judgment. That is true. It could have clouded my judgment. And maybe I'm a little bit biased because of that. But I do genuinely dislike a lot of that movie. But in time, I've come to like elements of it, and it's certainly better than a lot of the bullshit DC has put out since like Birds of Prey. I just don't hate those movies as much, but I can see Man of Steel is a better movie. So let's start watching Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder talk about his own movie. I'm looking forward to this.
No way! Okay, good. So that's serendipitous.
Serendipitous, so straight out the gate.
Hopefully everybody landed on the
with some big language.
Covering the end frame. Feel good about it?
Is he gonna start?
All right, I'm gonna try Wes and see if he's on the same frame. I'll talk to you later. I'm here, guys, so don't freak out. That's the right frame. We just asked Wes if he's on it too. I've got a couple people.
It's serendipitous. It means like it's destined to be, right?
What do you think? Can you see it?
I've suddenly forgotten the meaning of serendipitous a second, and it's pissing me off.
Okay, it's a long movie. All right. Thanks.
It's kind of like it occurs at a time it should, or right? Serendipitous. I'm going to keep checking every once in a while to see if anyone's joining me on this.
I'm going to turn the camera back around.
Come on. I'm sure it's something like destined to be like, that two things come at the same time. That it's very fortunate that the two things came at that particular moment. Let's look. We'll give you the dictionary definition of serendipitous in a second.
Okay, so we're going to do ready, set, go, and we will begin this process. So I will push play. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, play. Okay? So that's how we're going to do it. Everybody get your finger on the button. If you pushed it by accident, I'm going to give you a second to get your rewind and get your leaf back over the W or the N, over the N of Warner Brothers on the first shield. You guys know how to do it. Get your W back. I didn't mean to false start anybody. But the next time I do it,
occurring or discovered by chance in a happy or beneficial way. That's what I meant.
See, I'm going to put my finger on the button. That way you'll know.
So 2 things occurring to create something like
1,
beneficial.
2, 3, go.
That's what I kind of meant. I had that in my head. I described it very badly. I'm going to look back at this video and go, that's not what I described. But
all right, so
it is what I meant.
These opening frames, let me turn my volume down a little bit. I really wanted to have these like leaves to sort of signal fall, and the fall of. Of course, the movie begins with a funeral and ends with a funeral. It's a very, it's a cyclical film. It was all designed to sort of, begin and end in a circle to give this impression that, like, at first that it's hopeless, but then as we learn and as we grow through the process of discovering our humanity, that a funeral becomes something else.
One thing I'll give Zack Snyder is he knows he's a writer.
The Superman concept,
because he's talking bullshit.
Parents was a thing I wanted to. I really always been fascinated with, like, the death of the Waynes. The one.
Yeah, like everybody else, because you're a Batman fanboy. He's a Batman fanboy, and everyone else is a Zack Snyder fanboy. There's so many fascinating parts of DC lore that everyone's like, oh, the Waynes, the Batman mystery, mythos, and all of that bullshit. I mean, I love Batman. He's one of my he's basically my second favorite superhero. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They're basically, I love them all the same. But anyway, I think there's just as many iconic moments, like the spaceship blasting off from Krypton just as the planet explodes. That should have been shown in so many iconic ways, in the same ways as the Wayne's death. But anyway, it's his point of view. I'm not going to judge him for liking Batman so much, because Batman's cool. But like what he's saying about, I like the fact that he knows he's not a writer. And there's a bit where he talks about like certain aspects, because I think this film is written very well by Chris Terrio. I think he was a vast improvement on David Goyer from the first movie.
Wanted to do it kind of my way. Jeffrey Dean was kind enough to lend his incredible talents to this little scene, and Lauren as well. So it was kind of them to do this for me. I appreciate it. And then, of course, the amazing Damon Caro playing Joker.
It was kind of them to do that for you, but it's so annoying to me that Jeffrey Dean Morgan wasn't picked instead of Ben Affleck for Batman v Superman. That will annoy me till my dying fucking day. That would have been so much better casting. Fucking cast Ben Affleck to play Thomas Wayne. Ben Affleck would be a fantastic Thomas. Now I've just thought about it. That just blows my mind, because Ben Affleck would have been a better Thomas Wayne, and then you could have done Ben Affleck in Flashpoint. That would have been cool. Thomas Wayne, as Ben Affleck would have been fucking awesome. And yeah, I just think that Jeffrey Dean Morgan would have been so much cooler as the Batman, especially in this particular film. He would have been so much cooler. I think they really missed a trick there. And the thing about Ben Affleck is he was good. He was absolutely fantastic in the movie. Really shocked me, but it wasn't good enough a performance for all of. I know people who just didn't go and see Batman v Superman just because Ben Affleck was Batman. That's what people don't understand. I'm not dogging on Ben Affleck's performance. I think it was very, very, very good. That being said, other people could have done it equally as well, who would have been much less controversial. Secondly, he wasn't better than Christian Bale. No, no, no. He was not better than Christian Bale in Batman Begins. And I'm sorry, he wasn't better than Michael Keaton either. People till this day still think of Michael Keaton and Christian Bale way before they think of Ben Affleck. And that's saying something. When they in their imaginations, Michael Keaton and Christian Bale are much more Batman. They're Batman. Like even people of later generations, right? Like still see, like usually it's like when you grew up. So I grew up with Michael Keaton, so I see Michael Keaton as my Batman. And then a later generation sees, you know, nobody thinks of Ben Affleck as their Batman. And there's a reason. It just wasn't good enough. It was good, very good even, but it wasn't amazing. And with Batman, it's got to be amazing. With Superman, it's got to be amazing. And with Wonder Woman, it should be amazing as well. And I think that we should talk about Zack Snyder's casting. I think he did a lot of stunt casting, trying to upstage his master, Chris Nolan. And it didn't work. His stunt casting didn't work because we weren't invested like we were with Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan didn't stunt cast it in Batman Begins. He cast well. He stunt cast once people trust in his vision. Zack Snyder started stunt casting even before then, and it wasn't, he shouldn't have been doing that. Anyway.
In this sequence was kind of him to also participate. Damon and I have worked together on every movie since Dawn of the Dead. I've known him for a super long time. And, I really thought it was perfect for him to play this part. Yeah, he has a cameo actually in Watchmen where he does this kind of similar scene where he's mugging someone in an alley. So he was really good at it. Knew how to do it. You can see Michael Wilkinson, of course, is a longtime collaborator. Awesome. Good shot of Damon there. The pearls, of course, is like, look, the pearls they're, I don't know, they become like this staple of the, look, I have, even like in my little doodles, you can see like there's pearls everywhere.
Fucking Batman fanboys piss me off. Yeah, so is the crystal fucking Krypton has been a staple of Superman, but you didn't use that. You respect Batman lore. This is what I hate. The movies, the comics, everything, they respect Batman lore, but they never respect Superman lore. And that's why it doesn't connect. That's why Wonder Woman, like in the comics, is a mess. It's like, and even in the movies now, she's a mess. She's hopping around. You don't know what time she lives in. You don't know what city she lives in. You don't know who her villains are. It's like, if they paid this much detail, there was one person, I don't know who it was, maybe it was even, from back in the day, Bill Finger and Bob Kane, who put the pearls in, and people who are into Batman and Batman fanboys who wrote the book remembered that detail always to take that forward every time. And now it's become iconic. The crystal planet, the crystal Krypton should be iconic. There are certain things you should like. That crystal technology would be awesome. A modern day version of that. A Zack Snyder crystal planet. That would be much more awesome than Mars. They basically made Krypton Mars. with flying dragons. It's like, really? I don't know. It's just funny how he's so. It annoys me how he's so like detailed, oriented around Batman, but doesn't give a shit. He'll just fucking kill off, you know, Jimmy Olsen straight away before Jimmy Olsen even is a thing. Before we even care about Jimmy Olsen, he just kills him off. It's like, come on, man. You know, Jimmy Olsen is like, that's why Superman, nobody knows. You can't become iconic until people keep on reusing and reshaping and reimagining core aspects of your mythology for a wide audience. Look at his face, look at the glee. Just do a Batman movie. Don't do a Superman movie. Like a fucking just his face on how much he's like, wow. It's just Batman fanboyism.
So good fun. Sorry,
I'm gonna do a lot of rants during this. I don't dislike the man. I actually like him. He's a cool guy.
Talked about like the way I make a movie, and I tend to draw the script, take the script and then draw frame by frame, each shot in the movie. We also, you discover stuff as you go, but it's always this is always for me one of the most important processes.
And that's why his movies look fucking beautiful. If you do that, I mean, your movies are just going to look beautiful because he has an idea before and then he can improvise on the day. And I think that's why his movies just look fucking incredible. I mean, people storyboard, but he does it himself,
The movie before you shoot it. I'm not really a big fan of the shot list. It becomes abstract to me. And I have always very specific needs when we're shooting, as far as the details of the frame and like what you see and how the frame is manipulated. And so for me, drawing it is always much better. And when we're working, and Chris Terrio is a genius and wrote an amazing script, but in the end, once we get to this point, I'm always like, look at the storyboards first before you look at the script. Storyboards, go script, storyboard, shooting. So it's like you always have to. The last thing you look at should be the storyboard before we film, not the script, unless it's the words, and then the words we can talk about, but that's a different process. But I'm just talking about making sort of visualizing the thing. And Larry Fong, who I was just, chatting with on the interwebs, he's been an amazing collaborator with me since we were in film school together. We were, we made Super 8 films together, for our basics of film class. That's where we started as a collaboration. So it was he and I work really well together, and he's always like, he understands also like my whole like, where are the drawings? He's always like, where are the drawings? I need to know what we're shooting. So it's a clear thing. There was Ben jumping out of the helicopter a little early. He got in trouble for that. The safety guy was like, don't jump out of the helicopter until it's landed. It's not cool to, and he was like, look, I got to get, save Metropolis. I got to get to my people at Wayne Industries there. So
this is a good scene.
By the way, we use it in the movie.
I really want to emphasize that I'm not I really want to emphasize that I'm not dogging on Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck is a really decent actor, and I like him as a persona as well. He's a decent guy. I just don't think he's Batman. Sorry, to this day, I still don't buy. I buy him as Batman because of how good an actor he is, but he's not in my head. He even looks like Batman, but he doesn't convey the spirit of a Batman to me. He's too much of a. And I think that's why his Batman kind of worked as an older, more grizzled Batman, because he's quite a douchey guy. At least that's who he plays really well. Very douchey guy. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to explain, but there's something he lacks a certain inner darkness that I like in my back. Like my favorite scene in any Batman movie is Michael Keaton waiting in the dark. Um, like as if he doesn't have a life until that bat signal comes on, and it's like this really obvious bat signal in his mansion. So it's like, wait, nobody notices you've got these two big bat fucking signals in your mansion, like, and every time the bat signal comes off, it connects with each other. But he's just waiting there like this. And then he turns around with the arched eyebrows. And it's something in the arch of his eyebrows, Michael Keaton, that are just so dark and devilish and mysterious, which is, Batman is that hero. He's the darker hero. Um, so I really liked Michael Keaton, and I think you look at something like American Psycho, and you're like, that is to all intents and purposes, that veiled darkness is just there. You just know he's a twisted fucking guy. Even on the set of Terminator, him just like shouting out this guy, it was like, this is a guy who's got emotional problems, like inside, emotional turmoil inside, and it just translates so well when you're doing a Batman movie. And Affleck, on the other hand, I just loved his performance in this. I know that I feel like I would have enjoyed somebody else more. And I think a lot, and again, I don't think it was worth it from a financial standpoint. I don't think it's the sword I would have fallen on. He wasn't as good as Heath Ledger was as Joker, put it that way.
Because we do a lot of pretty hardcore sort of choreography and action, and a lot of times take one is the one, and then we'll shoot another 8 takes and be like, let's look at one again, and then like, oh, one was good. And so everyone gets tortured, but we still get the shot. And so you shoot the rehearsal. That's Larry's rehearsal cat. If you're familiar with rehearsal cat, he says that you shoot the rehearsal, it's not a rehearsal, which is 100% true. I remember when we shot this, actually, there was a little bit where you see this car. We forgot to take that ramp. You can see that little ramp right there that we used to get the car down, that little embankment to get there. This was downtown Detroit, and it was the people of Detroit were super kind, and I had a great shooting experience there. It was an incredible place to shoot, and just it's a great city and great group of people up there. There was a sequence when Ben was driving where he did knock the camera off the side of the car because we had on a hostess tray, and we had to weave through all these.
One thing you can never say about Zack Snyder, he puts 100% in this, and he has a belief and he has a vision, I guess, but I just don't think. I think his vision maps up much better for adapting graphic novels. I really do. I think he'd be amazing at adapting Red Sun, adapting, and I don't know why Warner Brothers decided to cut ties with him. His crew like him, everybody likes him. He has a massive army of fans who will die on their sword for him. Just arguing with a Snyder fan is like banging my head against a brick fucking wall. It's like, it's done, man. You're dead. The point is over. I remember having an argument with a Snyder fan who was talking about like how you just don't know the comics, man. You don't really know the comics, and like that is how Superman is. So I sent him an interview with Mark Waid, who wrote Superman Birthright, which Man of Steel did take elements from, visual elements, not really the story elements. I wish it took more of the story elements. But and Mark Waid's basically calling Zack Snyder out, saying his Superman is basically trash. Which is what I think, even of the Batman v Superman movie, even though I like it, I think it's philosophically interesting. I think it's intellectually engaging. I think it's visually stunning. Um, I really, I think it's like my fourth, fifth favorite DCEU movie. Do you know what? Like, in a way, if Superman was good in this movie, I would bump it up to my top movie in the DCEU. But Superman is so bad in this fucking movie that I can't do it. I just can't legitimately go all out and and support this fucking movie. If he was good, because I don't think, artistically speaking, Shazam is a better movie than BVS. I really don't. I don't think the soundtrack's as good. I don't think visually it's as good. Um, I think some of the casting choices and some of the choices, acting choices between Billy and Shazam. I think the age of Shazam is too old. There's a lot of things, but I think it's just a love letter to the Shazam comics. And if you're a Shazam comic fan, it's just a beautiful, beautiful movie. It will put you to tears. Just like, I cannot believe I'm watching a Shazam movie. And Shazam is like my third favorite. Joker's my favorite. And then Wonder Woman. And then I think it's BVS. But Wonder Woman as well is a kind of real love letter to the lore of Wonder Woman, like, as well. Although I wish it had some, more fan service moments in the first Wonder Woman, like, her saying, Hera, help me, something like that. But like, in general, I just love that movie. Um, but again, I think that Batman v Superman, in its best areas, like that fucking action scene at the end where Batman's just taking out cats, in BVS, is just fucking a thing of beauty. I mean, like, you never thought you'd see a Batman action scene like that. It's awesome. And I'm hoping there's a Wonder Woman action scene like that in Justice League, but we'll see. But that thing, man, it was fucking crazy, that scene where 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 Batman is just fucking taking out a whole, warehouse full of goons. He kills a couple of people clearly, which I didn't like. But apart from, if he again, it's like, if Batman wasn't killing people while doing all of this stuff, I would have loved that scene even more. If it was just like classic Batman comes in, takes out a whole, B.A. Baraka style, takes out a whole warehouse, but doesn't kill anyone. It would have been fucking amazing. But that was his choice, like Batman killer, and it soured the thing. And then there's other aspects of the movie where people just act in stupid ways, like the scene where coming up where Jack is like, oh, let's leave the building because because Bruce Wayne, why haven't you evacuated that building already? You know, um, why is Bruce Wayne having to tell you to evacuate the building? It's like everyone in Zack Snyder movies, and this is another. It's just problematic about Zack's. Everyone in Zack Snyder movies just doesn't act like normal fucking people, and it's hard to get behind them when they don't. The whole of in Man of Steel, the beginning, the whole of the Council of the Kryptonians are acting like such morons, and there's too much overwriting. Um, where you're and Zod acts like a moron. Like, you're just like, why are you doing that? Like, it doesn't make sense. You're overwriting this. You're overcooking it. The planet is about to explode. They know the planet's about to explode. They have space travel. We've established the Krypton, and they're not even like, oh, let's get all the rich people and escape the planet. Like, they're not even going that far. Like, fuck the rest of the normal, uh, you know, the farmer, like the worker Kryptonians, but let's get all the rich people off the planet, right? Let's get all the leaders off the planet. No, they're not even doing that. They're just like, we're just going to go down with this ship. And furthermore, we're going to send the criminals, we're going to give them a Hail Mary and send them to the Phantom Zone so they can survive the planet's destruction, but we don't. It's like, it's madness. And then Zod does things where you're like, wait a second, if he does that, aren't you gonna lose your fucking new super amazing powers? Honestly, I would have preferred, I don't care if you say, oh, it's just a, it's a bad, like, there's this whole thing like bad guys always have to be, somebody you sympathize with these days. I would have preferred Zod just comes down and says, you know what, we're gonna live on Earth. I'm gonna I want the Kryptonians back, and we're gonna rule these fucking Earthlings because we've got superpowers. That would have made much more sense. It would have cut all of the bullshit out, and he would have been the primary Hitler, and his bloodline. He'll be like, I will marry the female Kryptonian. I can't remember her name now. I'll marry Feora, and our children will be rulers of this world, and they will kneel before, like Zod. It would have been amazing, like that would have been, and it would have made sense. And Superman has to stop him from like trying to rule the world. And obviously, the thing would have been like Zod, instead of him hating, Superman and trying to kill him and stuff, at first he's just like, look, Superman, we can rule this planet together. We can rule these people. And Superman's like, nah, man, I ain't feeling it. And then he finds out, oh shit, he's got he has the codex inside him, so we've got to kill him now. And that would have been a much more, I don't know, streamlined film. Yeah, maybe Zod wouldn't have been as complicated, but it would have made much more sense than what happened. And it's one of the things, again, I can't get behind Zack Snyder film. Not in Shazam, in Joker, in Wonder Woman, people act like fucking human beings. They act like human beings. It's only when fucking Wonder Woman 1984 came out that you started getting like, wow, like these people aren't acting like normal people. But even in Wonder Woman 84, I'll be honest, from the logic of what the characters are trying to achieve, they act more in line with the logic of what they're trying to achieve, even though what they're trying to achieve is like, or what they do in Wonder Woman 84 is not as it basically what they're trying to achieve in Wonder Woman 84 there's a lot of conveniences, like, suddenly I can make my this jet invisible, like all of a sudden, like there's a lot of plot conveniences and contrivances in Wonder Woman 84, but they still act in a way that is streamlined with their intentions, whereas in BVS and Man of Steel, it's just too overcomplicated. Their motivations are too overcomplicated. They needed to just simplify that shit. He wants to rule the fucking world, and that's it. Zod, I mean. But let's carry on with this.
Cool. If you don't break a camera while you're shooting, you're not really probably doing it right. You gotta destroy some photography equipment in order for it to be a really good movie. That was Chris Maloney crashing into the World Engine from another movie that I made called Man of Steel. I wonder if anyone's ever done a 5-hour cut, which would basically just be editing these two parts of the movie really together carefully. I've never seen that. I'm sure it exists online somewhere. Really, really match up all these moments so that they're happening simultaneously.
I wonder if anyone ever did that. You egotistical, vain son of a bitch. He's trying to get.
Well, because they're right below. they're fighting right below. If you watch that shot, they punch out.
Why didn't you do that?
Could be kind of cool. Anyway, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure. Hopefully, someone's editing it right now. This sequence, of course, was.
See, he even knows his Snyder fans are crazy and will fucking do something like that. That's how much he knows his Snyder fans are crazy. That he knows that they'll probably do something like that.
You know,
I call them the Snyder cult,
sort of,
along with some other
9/11,
people.
What is the world in that world of this kind of imagery, you know, and what it suggests to, you know, the collective sort of psychic trauma that occurred from some sort of devastating event, in an attempt to kind of superimpose onto Bruce Wayne's psyche this vision of destruction that we could connect with, because
I'm so happy not to be doing something a little bit more.
Even if we understand now from the outer perspective that Superman is.
This makes me happier doing this than some of the videos. I've had to do like Josh Whedon videos and Marilyn Manson videos recently, and I'm like, ugh. It's like, God, man, what is wrong with men these days? Just stop touching all the girls, man. Like, leave them alone. But yeah, like, I don't know. There's just been a lot of cancel culture. Like, I've had to do like one on what's her name? Fuck me. I can't even remember her name now. She's a terrible actress. The one from The Mandalorian. I had to do a video on her. I was like, I don't really care. Gina Carano, I don't really care about her or whatever, but like, what happened to her was pretty appalling. So all this cancel culture stuff, I'm just gonna do stuff today that I like will put me in a good mood, like stuff that is gonna make me happy. This makes me happy. And Zack Snyder Day is in full fucking swing, guys. We're gonna be, doing some more Zack Snyder based material. So I'm looking forward, especially to reacting tomorrow to that Zack Snyder trailer when it drops, bro. Or the Snyder Cut trailer when it drops, and the score sounds epic on it. I love it. It's what I want to see, a proper score when it comes to the Justice League, a musical score. I mean, anyway.
So that the greater good is being served. You know, it's like a Ozymandias type scenario where you kill, a big sacrifice is made to save the world, and I would say that, and not even intentionally in this case, it was just like Zod is a powerful dude. You can't, to suggest that you could defeat him without him nearly winning is not really realistic or at all the kind of consequence I wanted, from my superhero movies. I don't like this idea that like there's no consequence, that these characters get to knock around in our world and they don't create and solve giant problems, because that's the mythology that, if you look at even back to if you look at Greek mythology and how gods interact with us in the past, they've always exacted a terrible cost on us as a people. So 18 months later, that would be the cut. If you were doing the extended version, you would go from.
I don't know what he means by that. I'm quite into Greek mythology, and I really don't know exactly what he's talking about there. If you look at Greek mythology, the gods interacting with us always exacted a terrible cost. It's just more Zack Snyder bullshit. Like, I think I understand what he's getting at, that there was that these things were relatively tragic in Greek mythology, but that isn't the mythology of Superman, right? That is not. Superman is the superhero who achieves the impossible. I've always given this example. Every time, in Superman kind of movies or comics, like especially in the early comics, his whole thing was like every week it would be like, we'll either kill Lois Lane or destroy the city. And Superman would always find a way of saving both Lois Lane and saving the city. That was his whole thing. We'll either, he'd always find a way to do both, right? So if it's between Zod and the world, he would find a way of, disabling, Zod while saving the world at the same time. That was his whole thing. And if you're going to change that, that's fine. But establish, some rules first. Don't just assume the viewer knows that this Superman doesn't kill because Superman in the comics doesn't kill, because you're presenting a whole different other Superman to us on screen. You're presenting a whole different other Park Kent, a Park Kent who will tell us children can die. So Superman killing in Man of Steel doesn't have the thing of, oh wow, Superman killed, because that's crazy because Superman never kills. It doesn't have that weight. If he had have established throughout the film, like, hey, you know, um, this Superman is like, that's his rule. His father taught him not to kill. Like, no matter what, man, you shouldn't kill. You should never take. You're too powerful. You're too, and once you're out there, you're going to be a great example. I don't know, some bullshit reason he can't kill or something like that, right? Maybe he nearly killed a bully or something when he was younger, and his father was like, "You can never kill," and he instills it in him, and it's like, you can never hurt another being or something like that. And then he has to kill Zod. And then you're like, oh shit, he couldn't think of any other reason. And then he screams on the ground. And then you're like, oh shit, like that's broken him in half. That would have been an ending. What you did was not an ending. What you did was you just decided, you hadn't decided how to end the movie. And then right at the end, you're just like, oh, fuck it, let's just have him snap his neck. And it meant nothing. And this was a film where you were harping on and on and on and on about hope. How is that a hopeful ending? That's a really depressing ending. It doesn't fit in the theme. The theme of fear in Batman Begins, and let's say the theme of fear in Batman Begins, the theme of family in Shazam, the theme of the nature of evil in Wonder Woman. It is all through the film, and every single character reflects, whether mankind is worth saving or not in Wonder Woman is reflected in every single character throughout the film. And it is the whole, thing from the beginning of the film, where it's like the Amazons were made to save mankind. It's like that is the whole theme of the film, and it carries all the way till the end, till when she kills Ares, and Ares has that discussion with her about the nature of mankind. Fear in Batman Begins is a theme. It carries all the way from the beginning. You have Scarecrow. You have the city being terrorized by fear. You have Batman using fear against his enemies to defeat him. And it is the theme, the motif that is, every aspect and every character in that film reflects that motif of the film. Family in Shazam. Billy looking for family. Dr. Giovanna, what the hell's wrong with me? His villain in the movie anyway, played by Mark Strong. He is, his family is horrible to him, and you see like what happens when you don't have family. And Shazam's Billy Batson is looking for family, and in the end, it's his family who, coming together with his family, and he saves the day through his family. All through Man of Steel, you're talking about hope. It's like the symbol means hope, hope this, hope that. But none of the villains reflect anything on hope. Is Zod anti-hope? No, he's just a fucking villain. He's just some guy, you know. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like there's no theme that carries through in the end, or they just talk about hope in a way that it's just on the surface, but nothing deeper is actually said about Superman being a symbol of hope. Nothing deeper is kind of explored about Superman being a symbol of hope. It's just said on the nose, said in the screenplay. So again, what are we doing here? Batman v Superman now, that does have a theme and it does have a motif, and every character reflects that motif. And that's, I think, because of the writing of not David Goyer, the the other person who wrote Batman v Superman. Um, uh, so yeah, the what is the motif of Batman v Superman? I've kind of actually forgotten as I said it. So everyone is discussing the nature of power, basically, and can power and benevolence can somebody, Luther literally states it. Can if you are all good, then you can't be all powerful, and if you are all powerful, you can't be all good, right? It's like that is the thing, that Batman is paranoid about Superman's power, his level of power. Can you allow a being like that to exist? Superman is worried about, with this level of power, what are the consequences of my actions? And Lex Luthor is like, if anybody should have that power, it should be me. And he just thinks Superman's existence is an affront to him because he's always thought of himself as the most powerful. Everyone is discussing that theme all through BVS. Again, another reason it's a better movie than Man of Steel. People like Man of Steel, I don't know why. Maybe because of the big action scenes, and maybe it's a little bit more. I don't think it's a fun movie, so I think that I find more fun in Batman v Superman, in that Batman fight in the Batman fight that happens in the warehouse is more fun than everything in Man of Steel to me. So I don't know exactly why people like Man of Steel more. I'm very confused by it. I think it's just a way superior movie. BVS. Um, I think I'm going to stop there and leave this as part one.
And here we are.
I don't think anyone's been watching anyway.
We shot this in Bora Bora, so it was a bit of a boondoggle. We went down there and hung out for, I guess it was like a week, and shot this. And,
so one person watched.
It was good fun, and it's always fun to shoot, underwater. And this kid was amazing.
So Jacob O'Donnell was like loving your thought process, dude. Thanks, man.
To surf Chopu in Tahiti, and I don't know if you know, it's a massive break in Tahiti, beautiful break, like incredible reef break, big thick wave breaks there, and it's and this kid was 15 and he had surfed it, and I was like, geez, it's just amazing. This guy got to come down with us. You'll see later. He plays like, we see him at the dock when the kryptonite's being offloaded.
I'm gonna try and find a good place to stop to do part one on this.
And he from the Portuguese, and he was just pointing at it, and I was like, "Oh, you could be the guy who discovers it." So then, even though he's just like a stuntman who was there for the day, we ended up taking him to Bora Bora at the end of the shoot. He's like, "This is awesome." There's Michael Cassidy, who plays Jimmy Olsen, and I just worked with him again. He's in Army. He has a brief role in Army of the Dead. Not brief, but slightly brief, but cool. He does an amazing job. Again, it was one of those things where I was like, "Oh, just come out for a couple days," and he ended up having to stay for like a month. So I appreciate it when actors roll with the punches. This sequence we shot also in in New Mexico at this kind of
That was another
facility,
thing.
and
That was another thing I really didn't like about him killing Jimmy Olsen, actually. I actually liked that version of Jimmy Olsen. I thought that was a cool Jimmy Olsen. I mean, even the fact that he was a CIA agent kind of was a callback to Superman Red Son, you know, like where he's a CIA agent, you know, in that comic book. And so I really dug the idea of like an embedded, you know, I just like the idea of Jimmy Olsen in this fucking movie. I think, uh, you know, he could have reached out to Lois Lane and said, like, look, you can't tell Superman who I am. The government has sent me in to watch him, and we'll do you for treason. And we'll, you know, we have now a weapon that can kill Superman. And if you, you know, if you, if you were, you know, what do they call it? Jesus Christ. Sometimes my head goes like it freezes. But I was going to say that if you blow my cover, right, then I'm gonna definitely, you know, there's going to be consequences for you and Superman, Clark Kent, with the government. So and he just starts working as the Daily Planet as a photographer, and then there would have been some tension between him and Lois Lane because he's getting close to Superman, but Lois Lane doesn't want him getting close to Clark Kent, you know, and she's always trying to get in the way of it. But she can't reveal to Clark Kent who he actually is and that he's been sent in by the government to spy on Clark, or on, you know, Clark, essentially. Or, you know, it could have been really deep undercover. It could have been like only Amanda Waller knows or something connected to that. Like he's an Amanda Waller boy. But yeah, I like that guy. I like the look of him. I thought that's a really new take on Jimmy Olsen. And then you shoot him. It was a waste, man.
and I think it was an old.
It would have been awesome if his watch had some kind of ultra sound, you know, like it let off some ultra sound wave, and that is what Superman heard, and that's why he rushed. You know, he heard that like sound wave. Superman hears it, and then Superman, like under the sound wave, he hears Lois's voice, and he's like boom, and then like rushes off to like save Lois Lane, and then comes in and saves fucking, um, uh, you know, he saved fuck, Jimmy Olsen before he was killed. I think that would have been just awesome. I don't know, man. It's all bullshit.
Town of some kind. I forget what the tungsten mine or something like that. I forget exactly, but they built a mining town around it, and then the mine went bankrupt, and so then the CIA and other law enforcement communities were using it for training. And then and then I guess the U.S. military had built a sort of Afghanistan style village there, and then we took that village and turned it into Africa. So that was how we. And there was a sequence in the script where they took the electronics away from them, but they allowed him to keep his analog camera. Jimmy keeps the analog camera. That's why he has that. That's why he has the analog camera. And that was his trick to keep the tracking device, that no one would suspect an old range-finding camera of having the tracking device, because it's such a simple piece of electronic. It's not even electronic at all. You know?
I'm gonna stop where. I know where I'm gonna stop now.
Originally, I planned a much on Superman's entrance. I had planned a much, you know, bigger action scene.
And why didn't you fucking do that?
Better to just to go with a simpler.
Why? Why would it be better with Superman? When it's Batman, it has to be some big spectacular action scene. When it's Superman, let's just go normal. When does Zack Snyder ever just go fucking normal? This time you decide to go normal on Superman. This should have been like Superman's like have him explode onto the scene, save people, and fucking, and you could have still had the scene turn out where like those guys had killed a bunch of people and, fucking, everything could have been the same. It could have had the same implications, but Superman had to come in big. And he doesn't give a good reason here for Superman not coming in big.
Simpler entrance for Superman, because I really like the parallels of his entrances, here and with Lex later, this kind of like lightning bolt entrance, which would be very otherworldly and like how a god would enter. But,
exactly. What are you talking about? If he comes in, busts through, and saves a bunch of people, that is like how a god would enter. So none of that made any sense. None of that thought. I was going to do something cooler, but I decided not to. It's basically what you just said. I decided to do something cooler, but I thought, nah, God wouldn't be that cool. God wouldn't be that dramatic. So I decided to do something lamer instead. And I do like the bit where he busts through the missiles. But that should have been just the beginning of what Superman can do. Maybe we'll see something in Justice League, hopefully, where Superman really lets loose in that fucking movie. But that was one of the things BVS was missing for me. I was like, where is Superman's warehouse scene? This is Batman v Superman. Superman needs a warehouse scene. He needs a scene where he does something spectacular, saves a plane of people, or, really like, does something crazy, like, when he's flying over the river people, like find a way of saving everyone and stopping the fucking flood. I don't know. And what was that flood, by the way? Have you ever seen anything? What was happening in that flood where the people are standing on the roof? Had the world had we reached the point of global warming or something, like the ice caps had melted, and why was there like this big fucking flood like that? That's so weird, the way that flood actually looked. I know there are tsunamis and stuff, but it doesn't look like that. It's like it's mud and sludge and cars and stuff like that. It's not like, this clear blue sea with just people standing on their roofs. It looked really weird.
You'll see, Callum was in Rise of an Empire, and he did a really great job, and so I thought I'd put him in this movie, and he's really cool in this movie.
He's great in the movie, and then you kill him.
Of course, a great bad guy, and
he's talking about the African guy.
Give him those little sort of Russian mafia.
He's good as well. KG Beast is awesome in this. He's a really underrated villain in this in the DC universe. I love KG Beast in Batman v Superman. He's one of my favorite things about the movie. He's just cold and calculated, and like he's fucking sick. He's a great hench. You know what you should have called him instead of KG Beast? If he was I'm fucking blanking on the name. If he was Otis from Superman 1, like a new version of Otis, that would have been awesome. But he was great in this movie. He's in a lot of them. But he's got quite a big role in this. But he's in Captain America: Civil War as well. So he was in both of them. But he's just really just a great actor in this as the Russian guy. I thought he was super. He made it like this like this James Bond villain. One of the things I think that really has a problem with this movie, which is also great in a way, is I love the Bond-esque, the James Bond tropes to Batman. But the problem is, because Superman is such a void at the center of this movie. This should have just been a Batman movie, straight up. But anyway, he's a void at the center of this movie. Um, you know, this movie should have been Batman trying to get kryptonite from Lex Luthor. Like his whole mission throughout the film should have been him trying to steal the kryptonite from Lex Luthor, and then the third movie could have been Batman v Superman. But anyway, so and you know he could have met like another villain along the way, but Lex Luthor in this seems much more like a Batman villain than he does a Superman villain. And I don't mean like a lot of people say like Jesse Eisenberg is just playing the Joker, and I never really got that because I thought Jesse Eisenberg. I don't mind him in this movie. I think he's a little bit distracting, but I love the writing for the character. I thought the writing was really, really intelligent for you know, a lot of very clever references. Some that I didn't even get, I'll be honest. But there was a lot of references like to the book Lolita, to Euclid's like mathematics, Euclidean mathematics, and you know, and just a number of different references. Like there was also a reference which I like to T.S. Bloody hell! It's the Marlon Brando movie, his first ever movie. A Streetcar Named Desire. There's just a lot of clever, rich, literary and scientific and philosophical references in this movie that just you're not used to in a comic book movie, and it makes it that much more adult and engaging. It's one of the things that I'm so fond of in this movie, and that's almost exclusively done by Lex Luthor. And a lot of the movie is framed like a James Bond spy movie. You know, even Wonder Woman is almost kind of used as Batman's Bond girl, except like she's just much, much more than a Bond girl, right? The mysterious woman that Bruce Wayne meets up with, and then he finds out is like much more than him. But Bruce Wayne is certainly like James Bond in this movie, and I fucking appreciate that, even down to the car he drives into when he's riding into the Library of Metropolis kind of meeting. And Lex Luthor is framed much more as a Batman villain in this, and making much more sense as a Batman villain. And that bothered me in some ways. It was good, but it bothered me. And I think the reason he didn't come off as a Superman villain is because Superman wasn't there. It was all Lex Luthor in the Superman Lex Luthor scenes. There was no back and forth. You know, in the Batman Superman scenes, there was no back and forth. Superman didn't have any. I mean, did he even have really that much dialogue in this movie? He was just sitting around staring at shit a lot of the time. And it was, I'm just sorry. That is why this movie is just not, it works and it's a good movie, but it doesn't work as well. Because you can't just call it Batman. Batman, you know, I don't know, like, this was a Batman movie. It wasn't a Batman and Superman movie, basically. It was a fucking Batman movie. And it's a good Batman movie and a shit Superman movie. That's how I'd put it.
I just like the idea that Jimmy was a spook for the CIA. I always felt like Jimmy, never was that capable in the.
Just say you fucking hate Superman and you hate his supporting cast. Why isn't it easier to say that? And you know what? I know what he thought as well. And it pisses me off. He thought, oh man, it will take such balls to just kill off Jimmy Olsen. Like nobody would be expecting that. Well, one, it would be really ballsy if you had actually developed him as a person that is that everyone loves, and then kill him off. That would have been amazing. Then you would have been like, whoa, Jimmy Olsen's dead. But furthermore, you know what would have been really ballsy? Much more ballsy than killing off fucking Jimmy Olsen. Kill off one of the Batman characters. Kill off Alfred. Or kill off, if you're really trying to be that ballsy and edgy, why don't you kill off a Batman character? Why kill off Jimmy Olsen, who you haven't even introduced yet? And people aren't even that familiar with Jimmy Olsen. He wasn't even like featured that heavily in the Superman 78 movies. So no one thinks of like, people know him from TV shows maybe, but nobody know, like, he's much more of a comic book character than he's ever been a movie character. So it's not like killing off Commissioner Gordon. Killing off Commissioner Gordon, that takes balls. Even fucking Nolan was killed off Commissioner Gordon and was like, ooh, maybe not. Took it back. He was like, actually, he was alive, guys. Sorry, it was his way of trying to get rid of the Batman. It's like, don't kill off Jimmy Olsen before you set him up so that we care about him, and then we're like, oh my god. Or even better, because Batman characters are known and people do have an emotional connect, kill off Alfred. If you've got such balls and you're so edgy, kill off Alfred.
Speak foreign language. People always ask me if he's dead in this scene. Like, do we see him again? Does he come back to life? I don't think so. It implies a bigger universe, or it implies that
what just happened?
Falling, as we go forward. It was a 5-movie.
I swear, I just saw.
And as the dominoes fall as you go, you're ended up with the consequence, and so the world is rebuilt again each time the movies continue. So, if this was a TV show, I would say for sure it would bring Jimmy back. Let's figure out a way, or I would have just constructed it in a different way. But in the case of this kind of limited view of the world, I think
it was a mistake. Just say it was a mistake.
Sorry, started watching the movie. I think this limited view of the world. You take your pieces and you move them. It's like a chess game. You move them.
That was funny.
And you need them. And the ones that die off for a reason. And they hopefully, as they die off, they give us something. They teach us something as they go. And that's kind of what their role is. In the mythology that is sort of the superhero, pantheon. You want to use sort of mythological strength of each character to teach us about who they are, the why of their existence in the comic books to begin with.
What are you talking about? You just killed Jimmy Olsen. The why of their existence, and how does killing Jimmy Olsen teach you? This is what I love. Like, please do this more. Ask people questions. How does killing Jimmy Olsen teach you about the why of Superman in the comics? I want Zack Snyder to tell me this. It doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. Killing Jimmy Olsen before you know him and before how has only, this cult of Batman did not come along. It came along a little bit with the Michael Keaton films, but not on the level that it did after the Nolan films. Now everybody is an expert on Batman. They know Commissioner Gordon. They know, all of the characters are big. Fucking Alfred Pennyworth has his own fucking movie. They even made fun of it in the Teen Titans film. Its own movie. It's like every single aspect of the Batman mythos is now explored fully, and it's all down to Nolan's Dark Knight, right? So Superman, you might think the 78 movie was this big deal, and it was, and so was the Superman 2. But he has not been culturally relevant in as far as the movie going audience since the 78 movie. That's a long fucking time ago. That's a whole 3 generations without a Superman movie that has popped off and like been a big, massive, universal hit. So just assuming people know who Jimmy Olsen is ludicrous. They don't. Most people don't know who fucking Jimmy Olsen is. If I go up to a random person in the street and I go, "Hey, do you know?" If I said Gotham City, what does that refer to? They'll say Batman, and then I'll go, "Okay, and who's Alfred?" And they'll say, "Oh, that's his butler." If I go, they might understand if I say Metropolis. What does that? Who does that refer to? They might say Superman. And if I tell them Jimmy Olsen, you know who Jimmy Olsen is? They'll be like, isn't he the? It's not on the same level as Batman yet. And that was your job, Zack Snyder. That was your fucking job. With Man of Steel, you were supposed to elevate Superman to that level. He didn't have to be on the same, because Batman's fucking awesome. It's hard to like unseat the king, dethrone the king, right? And he's the king at the moment because his aesthetic of darkness and brooding and grittiness really matches our age. This time period, right? So much more than Superman's maybe more optimistic kind of way of being. But you were supposed to elevate Superman so that people became interested in those characters within his universe. Patty Jenkins did that for Wonder Woman with the Wonder Woman 1 movie. She did that. She got everyone interested. People were, I remember people actually talking about, Etta Candy. Like, oh, are they gonna have Etta? Like, she penetrated the pop culture, and then she fucking blew it all with fucking Wonder Woman 1984 and killed the franchise basically. So great, but certainly in that first movie, she got people excited again about that character and that universe. So I don't know, man. Killing off this guy and saying it's because of the why of the character, I just think you're full of hot air. Tell me what that means. What does that mean, Zack Snyder?
And that's up to of course.
It's just a mistake.
As different directors or different comic book artists, continue the legacy of the work. They can change and I'm sure you can make a Jimmy Olsen TV show if you felt like it, or a Jimmy Olsen.
Dude, this guy's trying so hard to just say it was a mistake, and I'm sorry. It was a Batman and Robin level mistake. The movie isn't as bad as Batman and Robin, but it was a Batman and Robin level of mistake where you just go like, well, I'm fucking sorry, man. I shouldn't have done that. Warner Brothers is not going to give somebody else 200 million to make a Superman movie when the last 2 movies didn't bring in and spend 200 million on marketing again when Superman hasn't brought in bank after Superman Returns, which was a stupid idea for a movie, and Man of Steel, which was a great idea for a movie but terribly executed. They are not going to give people the money to do that. Let's hope your Justice League saves everything. I'm hoping. I really hope with the studio notes and everything that your Justice League comes in and saves the day. I think you've probably done a fucking fantastic job with the way you visually create things. But I think with a bit more, control over what you were doing, your Justice League might actually be something that is a lot more pleasant to watch. But we'll see.
Movie. One-off origin film of Jimmy Olsen. But like
a one-off origin film of Jimmy Olsen. Why would you do that?
And
one-off origin film of Jimmy Olsen.
This is the entrance of Superman, and of course he has.
You have to understand what I'm talking about here. That Zack Snyder doesn't seem to comprehend. He's saying, it's okay for me to make a whack Superman movie because in the end, there'll be other filmmakers in the future and they'll make other dude, they're not making any Superman movies now because of your movie. Because of Superman Returns and Man of Steel, and because it didn't do, investors aren't like Superman fans. These are $200 million movies. You have to get it right. And if you don't get it right, and you fuck over Superman fans, and that now we're never going to see Brainiac. I might die before a movie with Brainiac comes out. I'm black, dude. My life expectancy ain't that high. I'm either gonna die of heart disease, colon cancer, or some other or just lonely from loneliness in the snowy ice of this fucking pandemic that I'm quarantining in, right? I might never see a fucking Brainiac movie thanks to you, man. Don't just make out like, oh, that it's just like a comic run, like one comic writer comes on and they do a whack job and then they give it to someone else, So maybe one day they'll just make another 200. So it's $200 million. Not everyone wants to invest $200 million in films that they don't think are going to succeed. They don't do that. They invest in films they think are going to succeed, in IPs that they have trust in. And you've made it so they don't have trust in the Superman IP anymore. That's what you don't understand. That's what Snyder fans don't fucking seem to understand or comprehend. It's not just somebody's take. They have a responsibility to these characters to get them right. Because if Patty Jenkins had have done a whack Wonder Woman 1 and nobody went to see that film, there would be no concept of having Wonder Woman movies. If she had have got Wonder Woman 84 right and it was popping and it was like, whoo, this is a billion, like everyone's talking about Wonder Woman 84 and how fucking awesome it was. You best believe we'd be getting an animated series. You best believe we'd be that step closer to a Wonder Woman computer game. You best believe Nolan did his job. Do you know what I mean? He was like, I've got a responsibility to fucking Batman. I've got to at least take him to 2 great movies. The third one, yeah, he fucked up a little bit on, but already he'd made Batman and his fucking Joker and everyone involved in the Batman series iconic. And that's what you should be doing. You have a fucking responsibility. If you can't do it, fuck off. If you're going to split audiences and try and make it like you're trying to oh, I'm going to make it I'm going to make the Superman movie I want to see. Well, why don't you test that to see if that's what other people want to see? You had a test audience, test screening. Surely somebody came out and said, look, dude, this fucking movie, why didn't you get a screening with some Superman fans? And a screening, then they could have been like, hey, dude, I don't really like fucking Park Kent saying maybe you'll let it was a bit of a downer, dude. This movie is cool. I love the action and the score, but it's a bit of a downer and it's a Superman movie. I know it's supposed to be a more realistic take, but I want to feel some kind of, like, this is kick ass. And that's what you felt at the end of Batman Begins. And that was a dark character in a dark movie. But you felt, fucking awesome, Batman. Batman doing Batman shit. That's what you want from a Superman. You want him doing Superman fucking shit. It's so annoying to me because this guy is so fucking talented. And, he did a great Watchmen movie, and I feel really bad that wasn't more of a successful movie. And to me, people who complain about the Watchmen movie because they say, oh, it didn't follow the comics, but it was too close to the comics. But it was, these bunch of hipsters who want to, say like, oh, it's strayed away from the meaning and whatever of the comics, the holy grail of this comic. And I'm like, dude, I get he captured the spirit. of those characters. He has a right to. He got like. I'm not asking when I say do a proper interpretation of Superman. I'm not saying that he has to capture the essence of what Joe Schuster uh, was trying to the message to Joe Schuster or the message that Superman 78 was trying to capture. He can have his own message, but capture the essence of the character. He captured the essence of the characters in the Watchmen movie. Exactly. That when I read the Watchmen comic, I'm like, that's fucking Rorschach. That's Rorschach come to life. That is Ozymandias come to life. That is I watch Man of Steel and I'm like, that is not Superman come to life. It looks like Superman, but it sure as hell don't act like Superman. You know, it's a deconstruction of Superman, and so again, my point. Sorry, I've gone on a huge fucking passionate rant. But my point is, you cannot say as filmmakers, and they have to stop this. Maybe talk to them at DC and say, look, there are a bunch of fans who have been waiting their whole fucking life. Shazam fans have died. You know, like there have been Shazam fans who were reading Shazam from when they were kids and waiting for a modern day blockbuster movie, and they died before that movie ever came out. And they must be so sad. There are people who were like dreamt of watching a Justice League movie. And like went to old people, people in their 60s, or people who got diagnosed with some horrible thing 2 years after the Justice League came out and died, and they will never see a fucking proper Justice League movie. They will never see it. It's crazy to me. Like, you don't think of the existential responsibility you have to these characters and to the fans. I know it's just your career and whatever, but like, dude, it's like it's bigger. These characters mean something to people, and you've kind of destroyed them a little bit. Uh, and Warner Brothers is not. They're too greedy. They're too selfish. They're a bunch of fucking suits. They're cunts. They're not making these movies because they want good things in the world and to put a good message and to have a heroic figure that people can look up to. They don't give a shit about any of that stuff. They would make Superman a fucking vampire who eats children if it made them $1 billion. They don't give a fuck about Superman or these characters. But what so pisses me off about you, Zack Snyder, is you do care about these characters. And you're still talking this bullshit. It's your interpretation of the character, fine. And you did your best. You were passionate about this vision of the character. But do not come to me and say, after it failed in the cinemas, you were probably wrong. You didn't have the pulse or the zeitgeist of the times. Like, you didn't understand what was going on in people's minds. Maybe people wanted more Marvel shit, which I don't want, right? But you, for whatever reason, you failed in I like BVS, but for some reason it failed. It didn't catch on. Don't give me the bullshit. But when you kill Jimmy Olsen, that somebody else is going to have another opportunity to make a $200 million Superman movie. Because I don't see Warner Brothers rushing to make any fucking Superman movies at the moment. All right, let's go.
This is exactly what Lex wanted. The creation, bringing Superman to this politically volatile scenario to lure him into a messy political world, which also underlines the kind of why, Superman with its clean morality having to deal with these gray areas is kind of what this whole thing is about. And then,
he's not got a clean morality in this movie. He's killing fucking terrorists. Like, fucking hell, you're killing me, man. What clean morality does he have?
See what it is the
Just because someone's wearing a superhero suit doesn't mean they're morally correct. They have to act morally correct. They have to do the moral thing. Just because he's Superman, he's in a Superman costume, doesn't mean everything he does is the moral. You have to make him do morally correct things. That's what I don't see. Am I failing to fucking understand something here? He's not morally. What do you mean? That's amazing. I can't believe he just fucking said that. Morally clean. He kills somebody.
For like the aftermath of like what it would look like, you know, if Superman had like, you know, been a wrathful god, you know. So they kind of staged this world for our guys, you know.
Yeah,
you know, Lois knows the truth. I think that the, you know, cloud, the fog of war, you know, where we're like so affected by the sort of imagery of a conflict, you know, we end up sort of when we get the story as we do here in at the committee meeting, we understand how it translates back to us at home, you know, and that it would be really easy to sort of create imagery that could bring the sort of morality of Superman, not even the morality of Superman, but his actions into question. And I think that
it's an interesting point.
in sort of being this voice of reason, sort of this really clear, non-judgmental, but also what I would say thoughtful and very clear in her. It's like how the story goes through Holly and back to the world is a really sort of modern way of looking at how.
I'll tell you another thing. Everyone in a Zack Snyder movie, it's like I like what you just said there. That was interesting. That Lois is like this clear, thoughtful voice of reason in Superman's head. But I've always thought that Lois is the one that really challenges the right or wrong of what he's doing, and it's his parents who really are the supportive ones. You know, Lois is the one who's like should be skeptical. Lois is the one who should be saying, you know, be their monument, be their whatever. But, you know, you also don't have to be any of it, Clark. This is your decision. It should have been, Lois should be more likely to say so. I'm not exactly that, because no one should say that to fucking Superman, really. What Mark Kent says to Superman, like, be their monument, be their, you know, be any of it, or be nothing. You don't owe this world a thing. Like that, you don't owe this. Shut the fuck up, Martha fucking Kent. You know, like what the fuck are you saying to Superman? But anyway, um, this fucking this basically when Lois says this is all the things you know, this is everything that this is she puts her hand on the S shield and she says, "This is all that some people believe in, Clark." You know, and he's just I'm just the imagining of a farm boy from, you know, I'm just the the symbol of the imagination of a farm boy or whatever. Um, that speech that Lois Lane gives to Clark should have been given by his mother. And Lois Lane should have been the skeptical one, being like, I see him saving all these people and saving me, and no one appreciates him for it. And the truth is, you can't be everywhere at the same time. You can't keep blaming yourself. That should be the voice that Lois is. Like, hey, you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you know, you've got other things to focus on. You've got like, I love you, you know, I want to be with. That should be Lois's message towards him. That's what it's always been in the comics, like that tension between, like, especially once they've got together, which I find is the more boring part of the Superman Lois relationship. I actually find the Lois relationship where she's pining after Superman, but not liking Clark Kent. I actually find that interesting. I know, oh well, you know, it's not realistic that she can't, you know, that she doesn't know who he is without glasses. Look, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. The only fucking superhero who has a good fucking costume to hide his fucking whatever is Spider Man. The rest of the superheroes can go fuck themselves. Don't tell me you don't know who Daredevil is under that mask. Don't tell me you don't know who Bruce Wayne is when you can see the outline of his fucking mouth. If he covered his mouth and you could only see his eyes, then you could say, "Oh, you don't know who he is." But Bruce Wayne is very fucking easy to see. If you open this area of his face, you'll know it's fucking Bruce Wayne. Plus, who else could fucking afford? It has to be some billionaire. No one else could afford the kind of tech that Batman has. You'd have to be a fucking idiot to know it's not Bruce Wayne in the real world. So you just have to pretend. It's another world where, unfortunately, when people put on glasses, they look so fucking different that people can't recognize them. It's that simple. You just have to accept that as a fucking reality, you know. And you play with that for like the first movie. And then, you know, so she isn't so stupid. Don't keep it for a whole trilogy where she doesn't know. She figures it out at the end of the first movie. Or you find out, like, by the end of the, you know, movie that she kind of knew anyway. You know, like, and she'll keep his secret. But don't fucking play me this bullshit that, oh, you know, with Superman, the costume, the glasses is so stupid. But with Batman, when he's just got his face covered like this, and his mouth open that no one knows who he is, and nobody knows that he's riding a fucking, at least with the new one, the latest one, with this new guy, Robert Pattinson, like he's just driving a normal car that anybody could drive. The car in the Nolan movies, it's like that's Bruce Wayne. That's Bruce Wayne tech. Like there's nobody who can tell me that this guy's driving around a fucking tank, and you think who do you think he is? Some poor guy who lives in the Narrows, who dresses up like a bat? Come on, man. It has to be someone with access to serious fucking technology. He even lets fucking Commissioner Gordon drive the Batmobile in Batman Begins. Didn't Commissioner Gordon think, wait, this is some serious fucking technology I'm driving here, man. Look at what I'm driving. This is like $1 billion. This must cost 3 times as much as a Bugatti. It has to be a billionaire. It's fucking Bruce Wayne. So don't tell me about the glasses bullshit. Fuck, I'm going off on so many rants here, man.
This is one of this football sequence. There's Anton Clarkson plays the quarterback, and this Eli's quarterback coach, this kid right here.
Wonder Woman doesn't even wear fucking glasses.
We shot.
And you expect us to believe Diana Prince and Wonder Woman that no one's going to know that?
This football metaphor, how you would sort of show the way two cities kind of interact using their two football teams.
Wait a second, have I gone past the point I wanted to?
As a metaphor, I think it's pretty.
He didn't talk about killing. He didn't even care. Superman killed someone. He didn't even fucking care. He didn't even mention it. Anyway, this is the first part of my reaction to Zack Snyder's watch party. I should have done it nearer the time, but fuck it. Anyway, Zack Snyder's watch party, part 1. I don't know if I'm going to do a part 2 rant. It's just my rant on Zack Snyder, I think. I might even just label it as Zack Snyder rant. Probably get more views. BVS is awesome. I want to finish by saying that I watched it the other day and I love the movie. I lament some of the decisions that were made in the movie, but all in all, I fucking like it. So that's me. This is Zack Snyder Day. Next, I'm gonna be. Please like, subscribe, give me a high five. Give me a give me a high five on that like button. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna be talking about some Game of Thrones shit next, or maybe I'm gonna since it's Zack Snyder Day, I'm gonna rank all Zack Snyder movies. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rank Zack Snyder's movies next. All right, thanks very much. I'm out.